All right, so we are going to go live today. If you're wanting to jump in, just do so. Also, if you have anything to say, please contribute. So I wanted to take some time today to talk about more of my journey with anxiety and my mental health. And one of the big things that contributed to my recovery are these little guys. Just like I take medication for my hypothyroidism, I take it for my mental health because it's an imbalance in my brain, just like my hypothyroidism is an imbalance in my hormones. So I wanted to kind of talk about how I feel about it really and the impact it's had. So I went to my doctor at the end of April, and I talked to her about some of the things I was going through. When I would drive, I would picture bumping the side of the curb and rolling the car. I just made everything out to be way worse than it was in my brain, and I couldn't stop it. No matter how much I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I couldn't stop those thoughts. And so when I talked to her, I said, I'm really struggling with this. I keep on thinking everything's going to be a disaster and this huge catastrophe. I know from counseling sessions years ago that I tend to catastrophize things, but it seemed to have just gotten worse and blown right out of proportion. So at that point, she prescribed me some medication. She made sure they wouldn't interact with my other stuff. I'm drinking coffee today because I think it's too early for sangria, kind of. So anyway, so I went to my doctor and I just said, I'm really struggling with this. And so she prescribed me medication. The hardest part was starting it. It made me very sick for the first 2 weeks, which was really fun with a new baby at home. I ended up having to buy Grab-All because I was just constantly nauseous. But she warned me in the beginning, these are going to make you feel sick. Once they kick in, you'll feel better. And sure enough, after about 2 weeks, the nausea went away. And, I felt a little more balanced. And then I was able to start working on myself. So that was really good. I need them now, obviously. I call them my little golden pills because they help me feel my best. And, I have no issues with taking it. I know that it can be kind of taboo. Some people are really afraid of it. But for me, it's made a world of difference in my life, and I can't understand why that opinion would be out there, I guess, because if you're on the right medication, it makes the right change in your life. So that gets me into the last couple weeks here. I don't know if it's really evident in my content, but I've been really struggling lately. I've had, I would call it dread bubbling up inside of me, and I feel really down and sad and afraid and insecure. And so I decided it was time to check in on that medication. And so we've moved since I started it. So I had to go see a different doctor. But our family doctor here was great. He listened to me tell him how I was feeling. I said, I just feel this ongoing dread just bubbling up and trying to escape. And, as much as I try to stifle it down, I haven't been able to, and I've lost some of my motivation. So, I was doing all those jogs and stuff. I haven't gone this week. It's hard for me to admit, but I haven't gone. I haven't had the energy. I haven't had to get up and go to do it. I'm still trying to keep working on my business. I'm still trying to create great content, but I am struggling to get motivated to do everything I was working on. And I know there are just going to be weeks like that. Winter's coming, but to me, I just felt like something was off. And so I went and saw him. And so he doesn't know if it's necessarily postpartum. It's okay. He doesn't necessarily know if it's postpartum or if it's just my depression getting stronger. But he listened, and we ended up prescribing a bit of a stronger medication. The really nice thing is that he wanted to make sure we worked with our budget because right now we don't have the coverage. So he wanted to make sure we worked with our budget, and I could take something that wasn't going to have an impact, because the first medication he recommended, he looked at how much it was, and it was over 10 times what I was paying for medication now, which would have been an ouch, because, you know, we're not there yet, and we will get coverage again. We just haven't yet. So he found something else, and so now I have to go through the fun process of weaning off of one to start the other. So then I go back in a month and we see how that medication is doing and seeing if we need to up the dose. So I guess my big takeaway from this was, if you feel like something's off, find someone to help you. I had this gut feeling, and I didn't know if it was because maybe my routine had changed or the weather was changing, but I had this gut feeling that something was off. And so I went with it, I pursued it, and it turned out I was right. So that was kind of validating for me that I've become that aware, because really I lived in this anxious little tense bubble for, 3 years before I actually got some help. So the fact that I'm more self-aware and able to say, oh shit, like this isn't right, something's off, something is not working for me. So to me, I was really proud of myself, because I was able to have that awareness of myself and take care of myself. So I think it's going to be an interesting week. I have gone down to 1 pill instead of 1.5 a day for the next few days. So hopefully I'll be good. The nice part is when I start my new meds, my parents will be here to visit. So hopefully they'll just perk me right up, because I'll switch them next Saturday. Yes, because I have to do 1 pill for a week. But, I can't say enough about the impact that the meds had on my life. Oh, look, there's Hannah. Say hello, Hannah. She's practicing her standing. Sorry, had to show her off a little bit because she's cute. So, now I lost my train of thought because she's so darn cute. But, like the meds, I know some people are afraid of taking them because they'll feel they have the out-of-body experience or whatever. But for me, they have been everything. They keep me in check. They help me find my motivation. They help me find balance. They are definitely a huge priority for me to make sure that I'm on top of them. I make sure I take them at the same time. I just have a routine for it, that I get up, I brush my teeth, I take my meds. That way I don't forget, because I'm pretty sure that'd be disastrous. Hey, Mike. Medication. It's just like I said, like I take meds for all of my other medical stuff, my hypothyroidism. It keeps it in balance. So why wouldn't I take meds to keep my chemical imbalance in my brain balanced? And just like my thyroid pills change, my anti-anxiety and antidepressants change. I don't think it makes me any less of a person that I take meds, or however you want to say that. I just think you would take medication for any other illness, so why can't we take it for mental illness? There's so much stigma around medication and mental illness and being on antidepressants and stuff like that, and there really shouldn't be. There's lots of people who take them and a lot of people who depend on them, and I wish that it wasn't so taboo and there wasn't so much stigma around it, because just because I'm on antidepressants doesn't mean I'm crazy. It just means that I have a health condition, and I sometimes feel like people get labeled because of their use of medication, and I kind of think it's bullshit. So, give me a second here. So, yeah, and I think people forget to have patience when they start the medication too. So for me, I was really sick to my stomach, and I had a lot of issues for the first 2 weeks. And then once I got through that 2 weeks, I really started to feel the difference mentally, physically, everything. Like once my mental health started getting better, I was able to focus on improving other areas of my life. And I couldn't have done it without the medication. Like, yes, you know, I've been exercising and I've been eating better and I've been working on my mindset and everything like that. But my medication is the glue that holds that together. I can't put that work in unless I get that balance in my brain sorted out. Yeah, like, I'm going to have another sip of coffee while I retrace my thoughts. It's all like pieces of the puzzle. You can't finish it and get to that place where you're well unless you have all your pieces working together. So yes, you know, I do my mindset training. Yes, I'm working on getting into journaling and visualizing a positive future and all that stuff. Yes, I'm working on building a business so that, you know, I can continue what I'm doing with, you know, sharing my journey and different things like that. And yes, I need my medication so I can continue all of this. I can tell you, last week with my meds being off, it has been the weirdest week because I felt like I should be doing stuff and I would think about it, but then I just couldn't do it. And I don't know why it was like that. I mean, I know because the meds were off, but it was so bizarre. And I just knew in my gut that something wasn't working right. One of my pieces wasn't fitting anymore, and I needed to figure out how to find the right piece. Because if the piece doesn't work, the puzzle doesn't work, and you can't get things back together. So I'm looking forward to hopefully in a couple weeks getting really back on track with, you know, the working out and different stuff like that. I'm still using stuff like taking the kids out and stuff like that to keep me motivated, but I'm having a harder time doing it. So we go to a play group on Thursdays. It's not the one I run, it's a different one. And I knew I had to take Jake because the socialization is so important for him. But I really had to talk myself into it. And I feel like that's ridiculous because I've been going for months now. I love it. I get along with the moms. I'm always meeting new people at it. Like, it's such a great experience for Jake and for me. And I just had this overwhelming whatever that I just couldn't go. And so, but I went, and I was glad I went once I got there, but I had a hard time pushing myself to go. And if it wasn't for Jake, I don't think I would have. I mean, also because it's a play group, but I feel like if it was just like a mom group that was getting together and it would have been moms chatting, I probably would have, you know, backed out. But because, you know, it was Jake and it was something that's important to Jake, I kept going. Same with my play group on Tuesday. On Monday night, I was just feeling heavy amounts of dread. I had to motivate myself. I had to keep telling myself, you know, I run the group, so I have to go. And, you know, I went, and once it got going, it was really, really good. And, you know, I had great conversations. I met some awesome new moms and stuff like that. But I had to get myself there. And I'm so thankful that I did have the strength to do those things just because they were so great this week. And so it really helped to motivate me and, you know, keep me going, even though I was feeling really off. So back to, you know, medication, because that was mostly what I was supposed to talk about. Medication is everything to me right now, because my pieces don't work without it. I needed to get it back on track. I need to get it back on track, I should say. And I'm thankful, so thankful that I had this awareness to be like, hey, it's off. I need to fix it. And I know, like, there was also, I had doubts in my mind that, oh, it's just because the weather's changing, or it's just because my routine has changed or something like that. But thankfully, I didn't just go with that. I decided to investigate further and confirm that everything was either good or, you know, needed some tweaking. So turned out I had a couple meds that were off. So I'm really glad that I went and I dealt with it. And also I had a really great chat with our doctor. So he's also looking at helping me because I do want to lose some weight and I'm struggling. I'm down pant sizes, but my, you know, the scale hasn't moved. I weigh apparently the exact same as I did 3 months when I moved here, 3 months ago when we moved and we first saw that doctor. So, we talked about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about it further in a month. But, going to him and telling him about my problems instead of trying to rush through and just get the quick fix was really helpful, because he also, directed me to some online learning, and he talked to me about all of my medications, and we looked at all the pieces and put them together so that we could figure out the best plan of action for me. And so I'm really thankful that he's helping me to achieve some of these goals for my wellness, whether it's my weight or my mental health. It's been great that he's been supportive and helpful. I mean, I had my doubts about him in the beginning, just because he was very different from our doctor back in Regina, who we loved, because she was very bubbly and, very into the kids, and this one's a little bit quieter. And so it took me a while to get used to him. But, the fact that he listened and he investigated, and he really, he repeated to me how I was feeling, because then when he was looking at medications, he said, okay, so you feel like it's bubbling inside of you. And I said, yeah, that's the only way I know how to describe it. And he said, okay, so this is what it tells me when you describe it that way. And, he talked me through everything instead of just handing me a prescription and, sending me out on my way. So, finding that support system that you're comfortable with to talk about these things is really huge, and it'll help you be more successful if you decide, or if you and your healthcare provider decide that medication is something for you. I don't push either way. I just think that it was had such a great impact on me and my life and the quality of life that my family is getting, that I just think that if you need them, you need them. Take them if you need them. There should be nothing wrong with it. There should be no stigma. There should be nothing attached to it. You shouldn't have to hide it. You shouldn't have to, anything like that. It's just like if somebody's diabetic and they need insulin, then they just take their insulin. If somebody has, like I said, like my hormone imbalance, then I take my hormone pills. So, if you have that medical condition, get the appropriate care. And that's what I believe in, is making sure you're getting the appropriate care so that you're having an excellent quality of life, and you're able to, continue to have a positive impact and continue your responsibilities, and, you don't sink, because that's what I did. I sunk. I felt stuck. I felt sad. I, don't get me wrong, loved my kids, but I couldn't see the future. And now that I have, some balance and some tools, I'm starting to visualize my future and trying to manifest what I want, as opposed to focusing on the now and just living to survive. Because I feel like I was born to do more than that. I was born to do more than work, pay bills, and survive. I was born to have an impact, and I was born to, raise great children, and I was born to share something with the world and impact the world around me, as opposed to just, surviving, running on autopilot. I'm so done with autopilot that I'm never, ever going back. I am going to continue to move forward, and I'm going to continue to build the life that I want, no matter what tools I need to get it done. It's just going to happen. So with that said, I've taken almost 20 minutes of your time, so I'm going to let you go. But, if you ever want to chat, share your experience, anything like that, please feel free. I love talking to other people who've been in similar situations and, working through it together, sharing our experiences, how they're the same and how they're different. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. See you later.